Hello, D-Rock here. Welcome to the channel. I hope you all are well. It's here, baby. The heat. Southwestern Utah is now 100 degrees today, so I'm coming up to some higher elevation, doing a little scouting, see what I can get into and ride at somewhat comfortable temperatures. That's the deal when the summer rolls around out here. So today I'm on my Honda CRF300L. It's been a minute since I've been on this bike. Since, a little chunky here. Since I did that solo moto camping trip across the Paiute Wilderness, which was fantastic. Anyway, I thought I'd do a little video discussing the Honda CRF300L and my thoughts on it. So, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and thank you very much for taking the time to watch. Let's go back in time a little bit to December 2021. That is when I purchased my Honda CRF300L, and I'm still making payments on it. So just so you know, this bike wasn't given to me, wasn't loaned to me. I own it. It's my bike. Whew. A little bit of a rough section there, so I kind of lost my train of thought for a second. I was like, wow, man, I don't remember it getting that gnarly for a second. Anyway, like I said, this is my bike. I own it. I ride it. And after all the time, what am I going on? Oh, I guess getting close to a year and a half now. Is that what I'm looking at? Of owning this bike. I've come to the recent conclusion that this bike is great. It is. It's fantastic. And what kind of solidified my thought of how great this bike is my last trip on it, which was crossing the Paiute Wilderness on a solo moto camp. I originally didn't want to take the bike on that trip. I have recently purchased a Suzuki DR650, and I was wanting to take that bike on the trip. Or actually, let me back up. I actually wanted to take my KLR 650 on the trip, because there's a little bit of highway riding to get out there. And I just thought the KLR would be a little better for that. However, what I knew I would encounter was some pretty gnarly roads, steep terrain, and I just didn't want to deal with the weight of the KLR, because I knew I was going to drop the bike, you know. So I didn't have the Suzuki built out yet, you know, to carry all the gear, pannier racks and all that stuff. So my option was the Honda, because I wanted a lighter bike for the trip, and the Honda fit the bill. I have it built out the way I want it for the time being, and it's ready to go. So off I went, and I had an absolute blast. The road's chilling out a little bit. I can have a seat and relax. But prior to that trip, I honestly gave some serious thought of getting rid of the Honda, because I had purchased the Suzuki DR650. But after the trip, I came to the realization that even the Suzuki would have been difficult to deal with on that ride. For me, anyway. Because even though the Suzuki is definitely lighter than the KLR, it's not lighter than the Honda. And what it all boiled down to, essentially, was weight. I have learned the meaning of weight and dual sport bikes, and how much weight can affect you. So there's no reason to get into a long discussion on motorcycles and their weight, but in my recent experiences, one of which involved the Honda here out in the Nevada desert, which I got into some pretty difficult terrain for me, and the riding got very difficult. And During that day, or that ride I should say, I ended up having to pick up this bike, no joke, 20 times, possibly more. It was absolutely physically exhausting, mentally exhausting as well. And by the time I got to the end of the riding, the final stretches of that terrain, trying to get out of the desert there, I didn't know if I could pick up the bike again. I thought I was gonna have to leave it and walk out, to be honest with you. So after that trip, I really began serious contemplation on the weight of a motorcycle, the terrain I like to ride in, also the fact that I do like to ride alone and go on solo moto camping trips. I do. I find it quite enjoyable. And for me to get the most out of it, I need light bikes for that. It's just, there's no way around it. And another very important factor, probably the most important factor, is reliability. That's another thing that I've experienced with the Honda. I have beaten the hell out of this bike. I mean, I have. And that experience I just spoke about in the Nevada desert, this bike started no problem every single time. I was in gnarly terrain, deep sand, crashing, wrecking, I mean, you name it. And every single time, this bike started up and it got me out of there. Now, on top of all that, this bike requires very little maintenance. It does. So for a person like me, I don't want to be stuck with something that I constantly have to think about maintenance wise. Oh man, look at that view in front of me. Isn't that fantastic? Oh, beautiful. So when you put all of that together, you got one tasty sandwich, let me tell you. And that tasty sandwich is one I'm going to continue eating. So for me, the Honda CRF300L has a distinct purpose and niche for the type of riding that I want to do. So I have no plans of getting rid of this bike anytime soon, if ever. This bike has done everything I essentially needed it to do. Oh, now we're talking cool, dreamy weather. So I wanted to come up to 7,000 feet. It is gloriously cool right now, out of the heat for the time being. Luckily I'm able to I don't have to drive too far to get up in elevation for some cooler weather. So what about the cons of the Honda CRF300L? Are there any? Well, yes, of course there are. But there's pros and cons to every motorcycle. This I have learned. There is no perfect dual sport. However, if you're looking for a bike that is lighter, that is easy to handle, it's also easy to learn on, reliable, low maintenance schedule, affordable, lots of aftermarket parts available. You can build this bike to however you want it, essentially. The Honda CRF300L is not a bad decision. Not bad at all. Oh, look at that view. Fantastic. So you may be asking yourself, what then? What is the point of riding a Honda CRF300L? Well, I'm going to tell you what the point is. Right now. Point is this, folks. Right there in front of me. The point is going out and having an awesome time. That's right. The Honda CRF300L will definitely get you into some awesome areas. It will get you adventure and will make you stoked on life. For the most part, any motorcycle can do that. But my 300L does it pretty good. So there you have it. That's the point. That's the point of it all. Is to go out and enjoy yourself, have an awesome time, ride, and get stoked on life, man. So there you have it, folks. That's the point. Yep, that's a fantastic view if I say so myself. Okay, folks, I'm gonna go back and do a little more exploring in the high country here on the Honda CRF300L. Enjoy that cooler weather. Folks, thank you very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. It helps us out tremendously. Got lots more content on the way, lots more adventures on the Honda. You all stay safe out there. Enjoy yourselves. We'll see you next time. D-Rock out. Adios.